Alright, Charlie King back with you, and another time looking at And the Winner Is, which is my analysis of a latest winner. And so this past week in New Orleans, we saw Justin Rose win again, and we've seen Justin Rose be in the hunt at the Masters. We've obviously seen him win the U.S. Open, and Justin Rose, we've seen him at the Ryder Cup play great. He's just become a great player. And so let's look at some of the characteristics of Justin Rose. So look at I'm looking over here on the right at his grip, ball position, width of stance. So everything's really good. And so we watch him take the club back, and so we see him turning. And I just drew those lines near his head just to give you a reference point. We see the width, we see the wrist hinge, and his wrist hinge is happening. I'd call it medium. I wouldn't call it early, I wouldn't call it late. It's just happening in really good time. So we look at that position at the top, and again, I always look at the right leg and say, is it braced? Well, of course it's going to be braced with tour players. You compare that to an amateur player, and a lot of times their legs kind of sliding all over the place. And he's got his back to the target. And, again, if we could see the rhythm, his rhythm's excellent. So he starts down, and so you see that hip bump over. So he started, if you go back to here, look where his hip is at address, and then look at where his hip is when he starts down. So when people say that there's not a lateral bump before the turn, I just don't know what videos they're watching. I mean, there absolutely is. And we see, I call it starting downhill. So when a good player start on their iron shots, that left shoulder's a little bit lower in this position, and about right in here is when the left shoulder and right shoulder really get even with each other. So I always say that's hitting on level ground, right? So if you're hitting on an uphill lie, your spine is tilted with the slope. If you're hitting on a downhill lie, your spine and body's tilted with the slope. Well, guess what? When you're hitting on level ground, it's tilted with the slope. So he's retaining angle because it's not time to use it. As he comes to impact, he's got that slight shaft lean so the ball can be hit by the sweet spot. And his golf club is going up, down, and arcing back up. It goes up, down, and back up. He's making as perfect a circle as you can make. And around he comes. He's got a great blend of body and arms in terms of what he does in his golf swing, and he's great, which all these golfers are. Look at right there, that glove, look where the glove and the forearm's pointed. It's looking at us, and it rotates to square the face. So when people say the body squares the face, that's only because they've got highly trained hands, arms, and wrists to be able to say that. So then now when we look down the target line, we've got just really solid posture. And so he takes the club back, and he really traces that red line, which is the original shaft angle. And he gets the club in a, textbook, not laid off, not across the line, square face. I mean, that's just, again, very textbook, top of swing position. And then he starts down with that bump like we saw from the face-on view. And that golf club gets, the position we see here, it's not, in some players we've seen it get on that red line a little bit more than we see it with Justin, but I think their camera angle's off by just a tick here, and he definitely is keeping that club head just enough out so he's going to hit more of a fade, a shot that's not going to go left on him. And then again we watch the club really from here to there. We see how it matches in terms of the circle. It just matches. So that is what you want to be looking for. Once again we see here that where sometimes we see a lot of last time we looked at, we saw Jim Furyk and all the unique mannerisms he has. I mean, with Justin Rose, we really see a very textbook golf swing. I mean, it just so many factors in his golf swing. Just being so on plane on the backswing, the face is so square, the stability of how his body works.